Your alarm hasn't gone off yet. The room is still dark. Your phone is face down on the nightstand, and the world outside your window is somewhere between 3 and 4 in the morning. Caught in that quiet stretch of time when most people are deep in sleep and completely unaware of what is already happening to their money. But something is moving, not loudly, not dramatically. There are no flashing lights or urgent notifications, just a quiet, steady kind of motion that has been set in place, that runs without you, that does not need your attention or your anxiety or your second guessing. It just works. And by the time your eyes open and your feet hit the floor, it will have already done something your past self could not seem to do on purpose. It will have made a decision for you. That decision is saving money. You did not grow up thinking about money the way you think about it now. Back then, money was something that arrived in your account and then slowly drained away before the next payday, almost like it had somewhere else to be. You bought groceries and paid your rent and grabbed coffee on the way to work, and somewhere in between all of that, the month would end and you would look at your balance and feel that familiar low-level panic. Not a crisis exactly, just that quiet dread of realizing you had worked all month and had almost nothing to show for it. That is not laziness, that is not a character flaw. That is what happens when money is left entirely up to you in real time, with every temptation and expense competing for the same limited pool of dollars. The problem was never that you did not want to save. The problem was that saving required you to feel the loss of something right now in the moment, while spending felt like gaining something. And your brain, like every human brain, is wired to prefer the immediate reward. So you had to stop fighting your own brain. You had to take the decision out of your own hands. That is where automation changed everything. About 14 months ago, you sat down on a Sunday afternoon with a cup of coffee and you opened your bank's app. You were not in a crisis, you were just tired. Tired of getting to the end of the month and wondering where it all went. Tired of telling yourself next month would be different. You had said next month enough times to know that next month was a myth. So you set up a recurring automatic transfer every 2 weeks on the same day your paycheck landed. A portion of that money moved out of your checking account and into a separate high-yield savings account before you ever saw it sitting there looking spendable. You started small. $75 was going to change your life overnight, but because $75 was invisible enough that you would not miss it in your daily spending. And that is the psychology behind all of this. The money you never see in your spendable account is money you never grieve. Your brain adjusts to whatever balance is left. You spend around it, you live inside it. The savings just quietly accumulate elsewhere, separate and untouched. Within 3 months, you had nearly $1,000 in that account. You had not thought about it every day. You had not white-knuckled your way through it. It just happened because the system ran without you. And here's the part that surprised you most. When you saw that balance sitting there at $942, you felt something you had not expected. Not just relief, not just pride. You felt a kind of stillness you could not name at first. It took a few days to realize what it was. It was safety. For the first time in longer than you could remember, you had a buffer between yourself and disaster, not a huge one. But enough to know that if your car needed a repair, or your doctor sent a bill, or your hours got cut at work, you would not have to put it on a credit card and pay interest on a problem you had already survived. You would just handle it and then refill the account and keep going. That is what the automation gave you. Not just money, a different relationship with your own life. Now, let us talk about what is happening at 4:17 in the morning right now while you are asleep. Your bills are being paid, 3 of them actually. Your electric bill, which fluctuates a little each month but always comes through by the 18th. Your internet service, which hits on the same day every single month like clockwork, and your credit card minimum payment, which you have set to auto pay at the full statement balance because you decided more than a year ago that carrying credit card interest was one of the most expensive things you could allow to happen to your money. You do not wake up for any of this. You do not log in. You do not remind yourself. You do not set a phone alarm the night before to make sure you actually do it. The bills are paid. Your accounts are in good standing. Your credit history is quietly being strengthened by the simple, consistent fact of on-time payments, month after month after month, with zero drama and zero effort from you tonight. This is what people do not talk about enough when they talk about personal finance. They talk about budgeting as though budgeting is an act of daily willpower, a discipline you perform with a spreadsheet and a strict face and an iron grip on every dollar. But the people who are actually building financial stability are often not doing it that way. They have designed systems so that the right financial behaviors happen automatically with or without their attention because they understood early on that willpower is a limited resource and systems are not. You have automated your savings. You have automated your bills. And somewhere along the way, you started to notice something else happening. The anxiety around money started to soften, not disappear, but soften, because anxiety around money is not always about not having enough. A significant portion of it is about uncertainty, about not knowing if you forgot something, about that low hum of wondering whether a payment went through or a balance is about to drop below zero. When the system is running and you trust the system, that hum gets quieter. Now let us move to the part that took you a little longer to understand, the investing part. You had always heard that you were supposed to invest. You heard it from parents and podcasts and coworkers who brought it up in the break room with a confidence that always made you feel like you were slightly behind some schedule no one had ever officially handed you. Invest for retirement. Max out your 401k? Start early. Compound interest? Time in the market beats timing the market. You had heard the slogans, but the actual doing of it felt paralyzed by questions. What do you invest in? How much? What if the market drops? What if you need that money? What if you pick the wrong fund and lose everything you put in? And underneath all of those questions was a deeper one, the one you never said out loud. What if I do this wrong and ruin my future? That fear kept you on the sideline for almost 2 full years after you first heard the word index fund. Here is what finally moved you. You stopped thinking about investing as making a sophisticated financial decision and started thinking about it as paying your future self the same way you pay your electric company, automatically, consistently. Without waiting until you felt ready, because ready is a feeling that does not arrive on its own. You have to build it by starting. So you enrolled in your employer's 401k plan and increased your contribution to capture the full employer match. That match is not complicated. Your company puts in 50 cents for every dollar you contribute up to a certain percentage of your salary. That is not an investment return. That is a 100% guaranteed increase on a portion of your contribution before the money even touches the market. Leaving that on the table because you are nervous about investing is one of the most expensive decisions a person can accidentally make. You contribute enough to get the full match. The money goes in before your paycheck hits your bank account. You never hold it in your hands. It never feels like spending because it never felt like having. Then outside of work, you opened a Roth IRA. You contribute $200 a month to it automatically on the 5th of every month. That money goes into a simple, broad market index fund that holds small pieces of thousands of companies across the country and the world. You are not betting on any one company. You are not timing any market. You're buying a slice of the overall economy every single month, whether the market is up or whether it is down. When it is down, your $200 buys more shares. When it is up, the shares you already own are worth more. You do not watch it daily. You check it occasionally the way you might glance at a plant you're growing to see that it is still there and generally heading in the right direction. This is not a get-rich plan. This is not a viral financial trick. This is the slow, unremarkable, deeply powerful work of giving your money time to compound. Right now, while you're sleeping, the investments you have made are doing exactly nothing visible, and that is exactly what they are supposed to be doing tonight. They are just sitting there, accumulating, waiting for decades of market growth to do what decades of market growth historically does. And here's something that does not get said enough. You're not doing this because you expect a perfect outcome. You're doing it because the cost of not doing it is higher than the cost of uncertainty. Inflation is quietly eroding the purchasing power of every dollar that sits idle. A dollar in a savings account earning a small yield is at least keeping pace with something. A dollar stuffed in a metaphorical mattress is losing ground every single year. You are not trying to beat the market. You are trying to not lose the quiet battle that inflation wages on your money while you are living your life. Now it is just before 5 in the morning. You are still asleep. Your emergency fund has grown to 3 months of your essential expenses. That did not happen all at once. It happened in $25 increments and $75 increments, and the occasional months where you found a little extra and pushed it over a threshold you had been circling for a while. You did not follow a strict timeline. You followed the system, and the system was patient. That fund is not for vacations. It is not for a sale you spotted online. It is not for anything that feels urgent in a moment but would not qualify as a genuine emergency by any honest measure. It is for job loss. It is for a medical bill that arrives without warning. It is for the car that needs a repair you cannot defer. It is for the kind of moment that used to send your nervous system into a spiral because you had no buffer and every unexpected cost was a direct hit to your stability. Now it is not. Now that kind of moment is still stressful because money stress does not completely evaporate, but it is manageable. You have the resource, you deploy it, you refill it over the next few months. And then the fund is there again, ready and waiting, quietly earning a small amount of interest in a high yield account while it sits. That is not exciting. That is not content that goes viral. But it is one of the most genuine forms of financial freedom a person can build, and it is built by automation, by consistency, by the discipline of setting something up once and then letting it work while you sleep. 6 in the morning, your alarm goes off. You reach for your phone. You have a notification from your bank, not a warning, not an overdraft alert, just a quiet summary. 2 automatic transfers completed overnight. 1 bill paid. Investment contribution scheduled for the 5th. Balance in your checking account reduced by the transfers, but exactly what you expected it to be because you planned for this. Your savings account is up. Your investment account has a small unrealized gain this week, though next week it might be down, and that does not rattle you the way it once might have. You put the phone down, you get up. And as you move through your morning, there is something underneath the ordinary texture of the day. It is not dramatic. It will not make a great story at dinner, but it is there, solid and quiet and earned. You feel like someone who has built something. Not a windfall, not a shortcut, not anything that happened to you, something you architected patiently and imperfectly and without waiting until you had everything figured out. You put the structures in place, you automated the behaviors that your emotions would have wrestled with otherwise, you let time and consistency do the work that willpower alone never could. And somewhere along the line, the goal stopped being to get rich quickly and started being something more honest and more meaningful. The goal became not going backward. The goal became buying yourself options. The goal became the quiet, profound ability to face an unexpected expense without panic, to picture a version of your older self who is not scrambling. To feel, even on an ordinary Tuesday morning, that your money is not just something that happens to you. Your money is something you are steering. It was moving before you woke up. It will keep moving while you live your day. And tonight, while you sleep again, it will move again, quietly, steadily in the direction you set. That is not magic. That is a system. And systems are learnable, buildable, and available to anyone willing to sit down on a Sunday afternoon with a cup of coffee and begin. If today felt like a reminder of something you already knew but needed to hear again, or if it gave you one idea you're going to act on before this week is over, consider staying close to this channel. There is more where this came from, built for people who are serious about understanding their money, not from the outside looking in, but from the inside living it, one real decision at a time.